Okay, so with that, hi and welcome to At That Hype. With me as always, Brian, and John's not here today.
I don't know anything.
Hello.
Neither does anyone else.
Yeah, I say it as fast as I can, but John really honestly can't be here today. He is moving, so he will miss the next 2 weeks, so this week and next week. But we have other people here. We have almost always Ryan.
Hey.
We have Josh back from our Wes Craven episode.
Hello.
We have Tony.
Hello.
And Graham.
Hello.
And we are recording this. We are not releasing it, but we're recording this on Friday the 13th.
Hooray. Special.
And it will be a battle episode about Friday the 13th.
Battle.
So original.
Genius. Who came up with that? How long did it take you?
It took me a year. Which is so sad. But 1 second here. And then we'll get started with a quick where have you been doing. Actually, I'll can go first.
I'll go first. Playing Fallout 4. I have nothing to say about it. Let's hurry up so I can get back to it. Move on.
Okay, I will go second then. I'm not going to mention Fallout 4. I might say that for later. I've been playing Hotline Miami 1 and 2, which is fucking phenomenal. If you have not played it,
Is that where you fight creatures in the wasteland in Miami?
No, it is. It's like an over the head like 16-bit shooter. Super difficult. Everything's like a one-shot kill. Both bad guys and good guys, except for bosses, are a little bit more, but you're still one-shot kill. The soundtrack's awesome, and it's super like just fast-paced. So if you die, you hit X and you're instantly back in the game. So it's just a constant thing, and it always the levels you have to start over from the beginning when you die. But if you get to like the next let's say floor in the building, then you start from there. But
cool.
it's just constant action.
Is this
it's awesome.
Love it.
PC?
I have it on PS4.
Oh, cool.
But it started on PC, and then it was originally on Steam, and then they made it to, I think, pretty much everywhere but phones.
Yeah.
So if you want to play
Right
it, you
on.
can play it, and it's not very expensive. I think it's $5. So, or 10 if you want to
It was
play it.
10.
Yeah. It's
I looked.
Anything that's on sale is on sale on Steam sometimes. So
yeah. And if you can find it and you haven't played it yet, pick it up. It's fucking amazing. All right, that's it for me.
Do I go?
Yeah, you can.
I'm gonna go then. So yeah, I just finished first season of FARGO like 20 minutes ago, and yeah, it's awesome. It's super suspenseful throughout the entire season, but yeah, it's a good payoff. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a good show.
have you watched season 2 or just season 1 so far?
Just season 1.
Gotcha.
And
I heard it's great. I heard it's still good at season 2.
yeah, I don't know.
You heard that 5 minutes ago?
Yeah. We weren't recording back then, so I wanted to bring it up again for our 5 listeners.
Yeah.
For my mom.
I feel like we've had this
Mom, I heard
conversation
Fargo's good. You
before.
should watch it.
Season 2's better, according to my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He
I
likes it.
trust him.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He likes his stuff. He had me watch Flesh and Bone, which I didn't bring up, but that's basically, if you want to see a shitload of ballerinas naked, watch Flesh and Bone.
I have not done anything at all. I have
Oh.
not seen a movie in like 4 months, which is really not me at all. I've been playing NHL 16.
Well, there you go.
How many times
hey,
a
something.
day
That's a
do
thing.
you masturbate?
17.
Any new porn?
Whatever Pornhub has. Pornhub.com.
You just
Well.
recycle the old same old shit on the front page. Interesting. I did see
Can't
a
be
headline
bothered to
today
search,
that
just-
Pornhub took a serious hit in their traffic the day Fallout 4 came out.
I read that too, and that's why I brought it up.
That's amazing.
Which
Makes so much sense.
it does. People just started jerking off to Fallout 4.
Oh yeah,
guess.
I mean, you just make a female character, you take off all your clothes, and you run around and get 2 things done at once.
I mean, I think there's like a scientific test you could do of people who are sex addicts. Just give them Fallout 4.
You could probably do that in the game. That game is so complex.
There's everything in that game. It's kind of weird.
But yeah, so I've done nothing. I took a newborn baby class.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I think NHL 16 is more interesting to our listeners.
No, let's
that
talk
mean-
about the newborn class.
You were in the class with a bunch of newborn babies.
I
How did
was.
you do?
was a
Did you
I-
fuck up the bell curve?
He was a bit behind, surprisingly.
I
He held everybody back.
surprisingly was. And then, yeah, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
really? No.
It's thrilling, is what it is. Josh, what have you been doing?
I've been watching Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Ooh.
Those
wow.
first 2 episodes, those are fantastic. Anybody watch that?
No, I don't
not
have
yet.
stars. So.
My sister's freshman year roommate is the main girl in the show.
She's hot.
So we had to watch that after we watched Flesh and Bone. So I saw it last week.
Yeah, that show is it's shaping up to be phenomenal. There's a little too much stupid CGI gore in there for me, but the writing, the comedy is stellar. But beyond that, Scream Queens. I'm obsessed with Scream
Oh yeah,
Queens.
that's
I'm
pretty surprisingly good.
far deeper into that than Ash and the Evil Dead so far. I mean, the comedy in that, I can't stop laughing. It's like the way Scream impacted people, the charisma and the style from back when that came out in 1995 or 96. It's the modern, updated version of that. It's just incredibly cheeky. It's so good.
Chewie
It doesn't seem to be getting any attention.
Well, Chewie was huge in the beginning, and then Chewie, along with everybody else, said that there was like one kind of episode, like I think it was like 3 or 4, and then everyone fell off.
It's repetitive. It's like the same thing every episode. I liked it. I still am watching it. I want them to do something different.
Fair enough.
The look Josh just gave you was fantastic, by the way.
Was it? I couldn't see. I was too busy looking at my microphone and avoiding eye contact.
It was just look of like, you fucking moron.
It's the best thing I've seen Jamie Lee
Somebody
Curtis in
doesn't
a
get
long
it.
time. She's phenomenal in that show.
Oh my god. Did you watch this most recent episode?
See, I
of
haven't
her
seen the
last
fighting
two
all
either.
3 killers in her front room?
Yeah.
God damn it. I've never seen anybody fight like that at her age. It's so,
I'm excited to watch it at some point.
I can't stop laughing. It might
Wait for
be
it to
better.
end.
Maybe his issue is like if you sat down and just saw it all in a chunk.
Nope. Definitely watched them every week.
Yeah, the spacing, that's what I mean. I think you're taking too far of a break between them. I hate watching things week to week.
Oh.
I mean, that's bothering me with it a little bit.
Well,
but
I'm watching it week to week, and I find it repetitive. I don't think watching it back to back would solve that issue.
oh, yeah, it would.
I'm still watching it. I haven't quit. I just haven't watched it in like 3 weeks.
Okay,
Fair enough.
Maybe I have quit. I just haven't.
That's
That
what
sounds
I'm
like-
into.
that
If you're
sounds like
not,
quitting
fuck you.
So harsh. Okay, so we'll get started on today's episode so that Ryan can get back to Fallout 4. Today's episode is a battle episode of Friday the 13th movies.
Because it's Friday the 13th.
Because it is Friday the 13th.
right. That's the
Originally,
name.
this was going to be a live streamed episode, but that kind of fell through the cracks with my own personal shit I had to deal with. So we're just going to record it and release it later, and you can listen to it and pretend it's Friday the 13th as you listen to it. So we're going to do it chronologically, which means that Ryan goes first here because he has...
Friday the 13th.
There you go.
Part 1, the original, 1980. The very first slasher movie to copy all the other slasher movies.
That's such a long title.
That's a really long
They
title.
would have.
Wait, yours came out in
Wait,
1980.
I'm still going. This is my
Your 10
breakdown.
minutes have started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 1980.
Wow.
Hot off the heels of Halloween in 78. And pretty much the same plot as Halloween and all the other slasher movies that came before it.
But it's at a camp.
But it's at a camp.
Yeah.
Without this movie, we wouldn't have great things like Wet Hot American Summer.
Or Sleepaway Camp.
Or Sleepaway Camp. Or also, there's a whole bunch of Netflix, like, terrible slasher movies taking
Or
place
the,
at camps that I
the
haven't
Legend
seen.
of Bloody Jack. Anyone? Anyone?
Yeah,
I work with the director. He works at the show I work at. He gave me a copy of it. And I still haven't watched it because it's really hard to watch.
Is that
Go
new,
Todd.
or-
No, it's really old and terrible.
I might
But
have
go
missed
Todd.
that.
So I have some. I'm gonna Wikipedia some facts about Friday the 13th so that we can all know what happened. It cost $550,000 to make, and it had a box office gross of $59.8 million. So it roughly broke even. Directed and produced by Sean Cunningham, written by Victor Miller. The plot is basically that some camp directors get murdered after having sex, and then a bunch more camp goers get murdered after having sex. And then we find out that it's actually, spoiler alert, Voorhees' mother, who is the slasher in this film.
What?
I know. For most people
Mind blown.
who like are familiar with the Jason hockey mask machete image, and the fact that there's like 15 of these movies, are kind of surprised that this one actually doesn't really star him, or he's not the killer.
It doesn't remotely star him. He's a gag at the end of the
I was
movie.
gonna say he is in it though.
Yeah.
That's why Steve
actually-
died at the beginning of Scream, because Casey
Yeah.
Becker couldn't get it right.
Which, I mean, which is a whole different problem. Like, even as a kid, when I saw that movie, she's like, "Oh, Friday the 13th. I love that movie. It's Jason." I'm like, if you love that movie, you would have known. Like, you fucking moron. You
Yeah.
deserve to die. Like, what the hell?
Totally agree.
Blonde Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, I mean the beginning of that movie was kind of straight ripped off the beginning of this movie.
Yeah.
The death of characters that don't matter at all.
Harsh, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. You could tell me what the camp counselors who were banging in the hay. Where were they?
They're in the hay.
They're in the hay.
They're rolling in the hay. Roll in the hay.
Yeah.
But my argument for why this is the best Friday the 13th is because total fluke that we have any of the other Friday the 13th to begin with. Because popular internet demand wanted to bring back Jason from the end of this one.
I mean, that's really the only reason it happened. Was it's like, wow, that made a lot of money. You got to do another one. You kind of fucking lopped the head off the killer, though.
Real hard.
Jason? Sure, why not?
Remember
Sounds
that
good.
that weird dude that popped out of the lake in the end?
Yeah, wasn't he a child at the end of that movie? Whatever, he's a man now.
Let's bring
But
it
it's
back.
only like 6 months later. Whatever, he's a man
Well, they
now.
have that whole theory where he never died.
Yeah.
He was
Or
living in
aged.
the woods.
Or-
No, he aged.
He
was
must
living
have
in the
been.
woods.
Yeah, for 30 years he sat.
How'd he get all
dormant.
burnt up in the lake in the end then?
Oh, that was just algae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he was,
Oh, weather balloon.
Yeah.
He has
Hooked
gi-
on some algae, brought it out of the lake, drowned her.
He has gills. He can actually live underwater now.
I have really no huge arguments as to why this movie is the best one. Aside from it's a great slasher film, but really the problem is I'm not a huge fan of the Friday the 13th movies. I've really, aside from
shame.
this one and bits and pieces of other ones, I haven't seen a ton. But I am a huge fan of the Halloween franchise, and this movie is a direct rip-off of the first Halloween movie. But it's a great slasher movie. Kevin Bacon's breakout role
Yep.
and breakout death.
Such a good death. He probably was one of the best deaths in the movie. Because it's like,
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
it really catches everyone off guard. It's like the first,
man.
like, whoa.
That was the beginning of slasher effects. That was the beginning of like the Tom Savini era. It was one of his first movies.
Yeah, and the death
seeing those,
effects
like,
were really good.
These illusions that he would create. How does he do it? It's like a magician working on screen, and the whole 80s era followed behind that. It's like Friday the 13th ripped off Halloween,
Yeah.
but then Halloween 2 ripped off Friday the 13th.
Yep.
And that's admitted by everyone involved. We got to up the ante with those gore effects. The shit they did to Kevin Bacon was insane.
It's like the Apple and Mac war.
Yeah.
They just copy each other until they're the same, which is pretty much what happened.
But for me, like, watching all these, like, old school horror films, like, that's why I like Friday the 13th. Because they're never afraid to be just brutal as shit.
Brutal and campy a little bit too, though.
Well,
Oh, well, duh. I mean,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
the entire
yeah.
series. Like,
Yeah.
they obviously know exactly what their audience is and what
This guy.
exactly they want. Yeah. This guy, whose favorite Friday the 13th movie is every single one of them.
oh, yeah.
Right? So, yeah,
This is-
they know exactly what they're doing.
Definitely far better than. I mean, a few weeks ago, I defended Last House on the Left, Wes Craven's first attempt at a slasher movie, and this one is like far better than that. Like, not super campy and not over the top
Yeah.
and not just a joke.
Sean S. Cunningham also worked on that.
Really? Did
Yeah.
he? What did he do?
Didn't he? I had that right? You know this stuff better than I do. Sean
Let's
S. Cunningham worked on
consult
Last
our
Time Left.
pro.
Yeah. He was the co-creator with Wes.
That makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
Yeah, so you can kind of see how he went from that to this. Mm-hmm. That'll make sense. I mean, there's other things in between, but this was his next major thing.
Yep.
I also love this movie came out of really just they had to make a horror movie.
And it's so formulaic too.
Well, that's,
I love like
that's why because
you know
we have to make something like all right. Well, I have an idea about camp counselors. Why not just do that?
I don't know if this is the first
Call
movie.
it formulaic, but it almost invented the formula.
That's what I was going to
Yeah.
ask. I don't
Yeah.
know enough about it to say that this is formulaic or it invented the
Yeah,
formula.
it's
but
so
like,
standard now.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, let me tell you, I go to these revival screenings all the time, and I watch these old movies. You watch Halloween or Friday the 13th
Yeah.
in a theater with an audience today, and they just laugh at everything that happens.
Yeah.
That shit was not the case when they were released. This was the first horror film that my mom saw in a theater, and it was the first horror film that she sat me down to watch. And she was just recalling how terrifying all of it was to her, and it still is. It was just a different era.
yeah.
So they created the genres making these films.
I love the way that, you know, you have that character at the beginning, whereas if the girl had just listened to him, that she would have lived. It's like some dude gives away everything that's wrong with what's about to happen in the next hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Don't
the
go.
You're Doomed guy?
Yeah, the You're
You're
Doomed
all
guy
doomed.
from the general store. That's such a classic character.
That was the first You Were
Oh,
Doomed
right.
guy.
Yeah,
you
I
know?
love the You're Doomed
Oh,
guy.
Ralph.
Oh my God, the You're Doomed guy.
Doomed.
He actually comes back in 7 as the voice who introduces the movie. So
Really?
he's
Comes back in
inconsistent.
8 as the guy in 8.
Yeah, he's just a
Really?
guy. No, it's a different guy. But it's a
different
guy.
guy.
It's a guy.
You're
guy
all
on the-
But no, the
This
actual
is a guy in a
actual
boat
guy.
going, "You're doomed. We're all doomed on the boat." Just so you know, we're doomed.
You do.
And then the mythos that if you have sex in a movie, you're gonna die. This movie for sure. I mean, and Halloween, but
It feels more important in this one than it does in
Yeah.
Halloween. Halloween, it just kind of feels like they happen to have sex and then they die. Whereas this one, it really feels like Jason is just mad at people for having sex.
well, yeah.
Just kind of throughout the entire franchise, like, are they banging in a tent over there? I'm gonna go shove this spear right through that fucking tent. Like, fuck them all. Like, it's
That's kind of the plot of this movie. Is she's mad at some counselors for having sex instead of
Yeah.
watching her
Well,
kids.
That's the whole point of this movie. Yeah.
well, it's the whole point of the franchise. If those counselors hadn't been having sex and saved her drowning son,
Yeah.
everyone lives.
Yeah, yeah. Which just makes me crack up even harder at that scene from Wet Hot American Summer. The kid literally does drown.
I can't find my
Wait.
swimming buddy.
Oh, fuck. Did I just realize that Wet Hot American Summer was actually the prequel?
That'd be hilarious.
All right, we got to rewatch.
It's
and
actually
examine
it's
that.
Paul Rudd was the camp counselor that let Jason Voorhees drown,
Yeah.
and that's the reason this is happening.
I smell a remake.
Yeah.
But for this movie, I mean, I think the one major thing that you're not mentioning that, and why the movie is so iconic and so wonderful, and why I always watch Friday the 13th, like the first one, I throw in all the time, is because it's such a left turn with the killer being the mom.
Yeah.
Like, that was such a big deal because we'd seen like the masked killer before, like with Michael Myers.
Well-
and it was like no one expected this to be the older woman killing all these teenagers. Like, that's fucking brutal.
Yeah. That
And
we
the-
didn't. I love the first person murderer the entire time. And you see that from the beginning of the film, and all those creeper shots where they're like creeping around poles and using that foreground stuff is the spy cam view is pretty good.
And the first kill in the movie, the girl who gets out of the van and like or the truck and is like running through the woods and gets her throat slashed.
Oh, that
was
wasn't mom
brutal.
though. That was the truck driver, right?
No, that was mom.
Oh, it was.
Yeah, and it was brutal as shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's so just like insane and awesome.
Yeah.
I think when I have my
You have 30 seconds.
future kid to rewatch these movies, I'm going to save the first one for like maybe the fifth one.
It
he
really makes
watches.
it more important.
It does. It
Yeah.
Not only that, kind of like
In
adds like a
context.
twist ending to it because as a kid I remember everyone knows who Jason is. When you rewatch the first one, if I hadn't seen it yet, you expect him to be the killer and he's not.
Yeah, and that's what's amazing about this movie, going back and watching it with
Yeah.
all the expectations.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1.
So, in summation, classic.
It is a classic.
Truth.
Now for one that people don't consider a classic. I do, but as Graham said earlier, these are all fucking awesome in my book. We have part 4. Correct? That is the one you're doing?
I was going to do the TV series from the Sci-Fi Channel. Is
Even
that-
better. That's even better. Do it.
No, I'm doing part 4, the final chapter, and I feel sorry for you all because it's obviously the best motherfucking film out of that series.
And
the only one that-
No,
No,
sir. No,
Yeah.
sir.
It's the only one that holds up as like a real filmmaking effort, in my opinion.
Jason X.
Well, I think you forgot about 8, 7, 10,
Well, I'm
9.
Part 4 did so many things for the series. So you have part 1, there's really no Jason and he pops up at the end. And then part 2, there's Jason's alive and you're just supposed to accept it. Okay, whatever, he's
He's
a
got the fucking
zombie.
potato sack on his head the
Yeah,
whole movie.
potato sack head, and he's got a shrine to his mom. It's weird. And then part 3 is carrying off of that, and you get the hockey mask, but it's also in cheesy ass 3D. So
3D!
give and take.
3 dimensions.
I mean, Chewie and I watched all these as I was preparing for this thing, and that was her least favorite one. 3 was the one she's like, can you just fast forward through this fucking thing? I'm done with this.
It wasn't that bad.
It did introduce the hockey mask
It
and
did.
created the icon, but I think part 4 cemented him in history.
Yeah.
But it's also Saturday the 14th and Sunday the 15th that it takes place on. So, well,
At least they didn't call it that.
Throw it out. Yeah.
it follows directly after the events of part 3. Jason wakes up from whatever hospital gurney and he's got an axe wound in his head and he's bleeding and he's pissed and he just goes around and he kills everybody, and you introduce Crispin Glover and you kill him. And I think that was Crispin Glover's breakout role.
Is it?
Yeah.
You might be right. I
think
haven't
that
looked
was
it
right
up.
before Back to the Future.
Yeah, yes.
When did it come out? 84?
Yeah, 80.
On there.
84, 83. So the kills are varied and brutal. You have all kinds of like mechanisms that they weren't trying to do before. You didn't have the cheesy 3D effects that were holding them back. So it was like Crispin Glover asked for the corkscrew for the wine bottle. Chad, the corkscrew. And then he gets it through his fucking hand. And then he gets a meat cleaver through his head. It's brilliant. You introduce Corey Feldman's character. He's this young special effects makeup artist, Tom Savini wannabe character that has all these monster masks in his room. It was just so weird in the 80s where movies would do this thing where characters would have a strange hobby or profession. You don't have that anymore. It's always like...
And that kid would be he'd be a gold mine. Like,
Yeah.
the shit he was
Holy
making was
crap.
insane.
Yeah.
He was a savant. Like, dear Lord.
That kid inspired Josh Russell. Little known fact.
That mini head thing he was doing. Oh, man. That was insane.
Just his
Yeah, those
masks.
puppets and
Masks are
everything.
not easy to make.
I don't know. Just the kid sitting in his bedroom making that stuff. That's insane. You never...
One, you should probably call somebody, because that's kind of messed up that he's
Those are the
doing
kind of
all
warning
that.
signs that people say they ignored the whole time later when they get interviewed.
Well, to be
After
fair, he
murders
does
everybody.
murder the shit out of somebody with a machete later in the movie. The warning
Yeah.
signs do flare up by the end of the film.
Spoiler.
Yeah, yeah. So it was the reintroduction of Tom Savini back to the series, from creating Jason in part 1 to the final chapter, which everyone involved told him that it would be the last movie and they were going to kill Jason off for good. Of course, I don't think anyone believed it except for Tom Savini, but they gave him a good budget and then they're like, okay, come back and kill Jason. You created him, end him. And the way that they kill him is sort of unceremonious. I remember being a little let down by it, like, oh, you just have to kill him really good. You just got to stick a machete really far in his head. All that other stuff that you tried to do in the other movies, yeah, you didn't try hard enough. I thought there was going to be a trick to it or something. But it was insane watching Corey Feldman shave his head, try to become young baby Jason based off of one newspaper clipping, and then take a machete and whack it straight into his face and watch him slide down on it. It was kind of a long, gory death scene. It was
pretty brutal, especially the
Yeah.
fact that Corey Feldman did it. Like, if it had been like another adult, it would have been like, okay, this is just that final fight. But having a child be the one who do it is like,
Yeah.
it was kind of intense.
Yeah.
So Tommy Jarvis became like a cult icon for the rest of the series. He
Until
carried on
7,
from 5, 6. He's not in 7.
He's
right?
on 7.
Five-
That's
right.
part of why they call
Was
it
Corey
Six.
Feldman in the movies?
No.
Oh, okay.
no,
He does
no.
He's in the very beginning of 5.
Gotcha.
And then he's not in the rest of the movie.
Right.
Like a Final Destination trick.
You know, when he just ages, he's just older. The character's in all of them, but in the very beginning of 5,
gotcha.
he's standing there and he's like watching him come out of a grave, he's having a nightmare. Then he wakes up and he's the older version who plays him throughout the rest of the movie.
Great.
All the fans of the series still go on about Tommy Jarvis, like all the
Yeah.
time. Anytime there's talk about a new movie coming out, or I just backed the Kickstarter today for the Friday the 13th game, and they're everybody wants to put Tommy Jarvis in it somewhere.
I don't know why they wouldn't. I mean,
Who'd you play? The counselors and shit?
Well, what you have you
just
heard
run
the,
away
In
the
the game?
entire time?
The
Yeah.
game sounds awesome.
The game does sound pretty fucking awesome, but we should talk about the movies because I could talk about that game for fucking the rest of this episode. I'm so excited. About it.
Let's do
Like,
it.
There hasn't been a game yet where you just hide in the shadows. Like you're the killer. You just stand still for like 4 hours waiting for someone to come by. Ah, machete.
Well, it's coming.
Just standing in the shadows, just thinking of like incredible ways to kill people.
Yeah. You can AFK. You can go make a sandwich, get another beer, whatever you want to do. Ah, murder.
What was the? Is
You
it
have to
your
make
movie
your own
where he
weapons and
starts
shit?
actually like hiding the bodies creatively, or is that in 3? I think it's 3 where he starts like hiding the bodies creatively because that's
He
one of the
definitely
things.
does it in 7. Yeah.
He doesn't say he doesn't in 10 too, but he really likes Jason's creative after he kills somebody, and that's one of my favorite things about it. It's like he's dead now. I'm gonna put him up in this tree.
That never happens in horror movies. That's pretty impressive.
Well, they did it in
Halloween, man.
Halloween is
Yeah.
Sure.
they ripped it off from that. Really?
Yeah, but he definitely did it in 4, like blocking the kitchen.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Nailed up
That's-
Crispin Glover and.
But that's like to be scary later. That's not really hiding it, right?
Well, yeah, but it just kind of feels like Jason's like
No, he
"Ah."
definitely killed him and then dragged him off and then like killed some other people and then came back and then nailed people to walls.
All right.
and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I
He
just,
loves
I,
his work.
I really just I'd love to watch behind
Yeah.
the scenes of Jason just like, all right, no, I guess they're having sex. I can't do it quite yet. It's too early. What should I do? Hey, look at Crispin Glover. I'm gonna nail you to a fucking wall. Like,
Bored.
How many stopwatches do you think he has? All right, so that's going to take 10 minutes. All right, so I got 10 minutes over here. I'm going to run over here, and then I got to burn this. And all right, cool. No, this is gonna look
None
great.
of it is as great of an undertaking as I'm going to shave off all your family's skin and wear it for dinner. That was one of the best. Another podcast.
Yeah, another day.
Are we gonna do one of those?
I would love to do one of those. Those are some good movies.
That's Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
If you didn't know that, you're listening to the wrong podcast.
I'll take 3D.
That's how bad you want to do it. You'll take the 3D one.
Yeah.
So more on 4. 4. It's funny because it didn't make as much money as 3, but it's still, because it had a lower budget than 3, so it didn't cost as much, is the main reason why we kept getting them after 4, I think. Because I remember reading like this was supposed to be the end, and everyone wanted to come back and finish it off, and this was going to be it. And then it was really just, I mean, how much money? Oh,
Yeah.
I guess we can do another one then. But Jason's dead.
Right.
So
But
he's
we
not
did
even
do
in
a
5.
super
It-
terrible
that's
way of
right.
killing
They-
him.
they
We can totally bring him back.
For a minute, they tried to stick to that
Yeah.
Yeah,
theory.
they did for a whole
he's-
movie.
He's dead.
Yeah.
So what's the next one going to be? Okay, not him. Some copycat killer.
Yeah,
But we
so-
got to keep Tommy Jarvis to keep the continuity going.
Yeah, for some reason, what was he? A therapist decides it's going to be a good idea to pretend to be Jason and kill everybody because his son died. It's like, what? What?
Yeah.
I'd like to just point out to
He had an
everybody
impressive costume.
that the whole problem that Hollywood has had with only rehashing old shit instead of making up new stories is not a new one. This was happening in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Friday the 13th is really, like, it's at pinnacle of,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
why did we make so many Saw
10 too
movies and, like,
many.
Paranormal Activity movies? Because Friday the 13th proved you can do it and make
Yep.
a
Yeah,
shitload
yeah,
of money.
yeah.
Lot
That's
of
exactly
money.
That's the
Yeah.
takeaway
Because
from this entire
Part 5
podcast.
was garbage,
Yeah.
and then they all sat around a boardroom and said, "What do we do now? We
Yeah.
need to make another one for more money." You know what? Jason's
Fine.
fucking alive.
Yep. Find one more person who thinks they can do it better.
Yep.
You know, you can just talk to anybody. Be like,
To be fair-
I could totally make a better Jason movie.
To be fair, 6 is pretty good.
6 is pretty good,
Yeah.
and the way they bring him back with the lightning bolt in the grave, wow.
Yeah, pretty good.
I buy it. I buy it. He's alive.
You did buy it. I mean, you know, we all bought that ticket.
But the thing that I like about 4 is 4 for me, I honestly think is the last time that they actually kind of scared me. Like I was never like terrified of these movies by any means. That's why I was able to watch these instead of any other horror film as a kid. 4 was like the last one that actually kind of made me go, ugh.
Yeah, it was
For
really
1 second.
before they got super cheesy
Yeah.
about it. I feel like what we were discussing with part 1, they were inventing new stuff
Yeah.
during the first couple of movies in
Yeah.
this series. They were defining the genre for what it was. They were trying to make serious films, and it wasn't until probably after part 5 that they decided, you know what, fuck it, let's do whatever we want. Let's make it cheesy and hokey and fun.
And yeah, 4 is like, I think that's why 4 is held so highly in my regard, is like it's the last one. It really is the last one where it's like the awesome like Friday the 13th movies. After that, they're the awesomely bad Friday the 13th movies, which I
Yeah.
still love in their own way. I picked one, probably the worst one, but that's what like the 4 is like. It's like the crowning jewel of like what they were trying to do originally, I think.
Well, you're all fucked. Good luck getting my vote on any other past this one, because you all drove it home. 4 is the best one.
4 is
We
really
all
good.
knew it.
Yeah, 4 is really good.
I've only seen the first one, and that's questionable.
4 is a really good horror film. But 6 is really good too. And then you have 7, which is awesome.
All right.
Graham will talk about 7.
Good
but
luck.
first,
Good
no,
luck
it is right
next.
now, isn't it?
Yeah.
For some reason, I was like, yeah, but first we have to talk about 8 before 7 because that made sense in my head for
Nope,
some
nope,
reason.
not at all.
Because you're Yoda. Yoda of podcasts.
All right, Graham, you ready?
Yep. So unfortunately, you're all wrong.
I haven't gone yet, so I'm not wrong yet.
Yeah, you will be. You will be wrong.
You will be wrong.
You will be.
I knew it. You are the Yoda of podcasts.
So what we've been talking about is classic, right? Classic horror, classic
Yeah.
slasher, classic all this stuff, right? And that's this, right? That's 7. It's just nothing else other than just murder,
Sold.
right? Like in 1, they kind of set it up, you know, whatever, and then the super twist at the end, whatever.
That was my whole argument. Yeah.
Right, yeah, which is cool. And then in 4, it's kind of the same thing, but it's so slow. Like the time between kills just takes forever, and I don't care about any of the other characters.
You don't love the twins, the naked twins?
No, it's
Wait,
like
they're naked?
The doublemint twins?
It's Friday the 13th. Everyone's naked.
Not mine.
That's true.
That's true, not in yours.
Oh
You
God.
can't be because that's illegal in New York. It just takes so much time, and there's so much setup of like, so much like teen sex drama bullshit that it's like I don't care. I just want to see somebody get murked right now, like right now. And then in 7, that's what you get. Everyone dies, and then it's just death after death after death. And yeah, I mean the working title of this film was Birthday Bash, which I thought was pretty awesome.
That'd have been the worst movie ever. Friday the 13th, Part 7, Birthday Bash. Really?
No, it would have been awesome. It would have been an awesome title, and it totally would have worked.
New Blood is already a pretty terrible title.
Which is an it was an add-on title by the producers and shit. That wasn't even.
I think anything is better than just telling you where the character is. Like Friday, Jason in Hell. Like, who gives a shit about that movie?
It's Jason Goes to Hell. It's all about how he gets there. It's about the journey, not the destination.
I'm really
Come
talking
on.
about the Leprechaun movies. Leprechaun in space.
Leprechaun in the Hood.
Yeah.
Part 2.
Another podcast.
Oh, yeah, we got to do that one.
Yeah. Oh, jeez Louise. But yeah, no, I think this is awesome. Classic. Kane Hodder this was his first time playing Jason, and he actually played in a whole bunch of them.
He did it through 10. And he's an awesome Jason. Awesome Jason. He just feels violent as shit.
Yep.
I don't know what the difference is between him and the other ones, but when he actually, he murders somebody, it's got, a quickness to it. It's like, ow!
Yeah.
You felt that. Yours is the one with the tree kill, isn't it?
The sleeping bag kill.
Oh, it's such a good one.
Which
a good
came
one.
back in 10. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what, that's what, Kane's known for. Kane,
I think it's going to be in the game, too.
it should be.
It should be.
I mean, he had a lot of, he did all of his stunts for this, even falling through the staircase and being on fire for the longest time.
Who did he kill with that weed whacker?
It was the doctor, and it was a weed whacker blade, it was a saw blade on a 6-foot pole. It was awesome, right? Like that would be awesome in 3D,
Yeah.
And so you've got the sleeping bag kill, you got the saw blade kill, you got the birthday kazoo in the face kill.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
And it goes as he sticks it in her face. Amazing kills throughout this entire movie. And other things that I found was just completely baffled me out of this. So this was actually going to be the Freddy vs. Jason movie originally. And then because, New Line Cinema and all this stuff, the rights got tangled up. So they're like, okay, so we need to figure out an idea real quick. And so they wrote, produced, cast, edited this whole film in 6 months.
That's amazing.
That actually, for how cheesy and campy it is, that is still very impressive.
It's super impressive because this is the best one. Because it's so classic. It nails every moment, right? And then, their kind of campy, silly idea was throwing in basically Carrie into this movie.
The producers all throughout the entire film called it, we're making Jason versus Carrie.
Yeah, because, you kind of had to, who else was popular at the time?
Yep.
It was Carrie. And so, they basically threw her in there, and she does a pretty badass job.
She does. I like that when they were writing it, they basically were trying to come up with the idea of what could fight Jason. We made it pretty clear that humans can't do it. So, what could do it? And they're like, well, what about a telekinetic girl? That could, give him a run for his money. And she does.
Yeah. For as much as a teenage, 19-year-old girl can.
She blows this shit out of his mask off. Just...
Yep. Yep.
And then you have angry animatronic Jason face throughout the rest of the movie.
Oh, God.
Still doesn't look that terrible, but yeah.
It still does. When I was watching it when I was watching, I'm like, it actually does look kind of creepy.
Yeah.
If I saw that, even that, as corny as it looks, if I saw that in real life, looking at me going, I would run the other way. Just
knowing that Kane Hodder was behind it. I'd be
Tony's
totally
shaking his head no, you're gonna run up and hug it.
No. I'm saying no. Get the fuck away from me. No.
Okay.
No, he
I'm not
can't.
getting
He
near that.
literally can't even.
No.
I literally can't even.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I think Kane Hodder is pretty badass in this movie. And yeah, I think it's just pretty badass. Oh, and then another thing that I think was pretty crazy. So everyone kind of says that this is one of the lamest as far as gore and stuff like that, and that's because at this time in late 80s, the MPAA was really going hard after movies. And so this was super, super cut down. They recut the movie 9 times just to go through the MPAA. And so that's why all the gore and stuff is cut out. But I think there's still enough. It is.
Well, it was directed by a makeup effects guy, John Beekler.
Yep.
So he did everything he possibly could to try to make it the goriest, bloodiest thing that there was. And
Yep.
I think the end result that they ended up cutting down was not any lesser than the rest of the movies. What he tried to do would have been 10 times over the top.
It would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Probably clearly the
what we
best.
could have, what we could have gotten from this would be amazing. I think we still got the best out of all of them. But what we could have gotten would be even better. But yeah, I mean, who knows what kind of gore. And apparently all that footage has been lost.
It's so sad.
So we won't even get a final future, perfect director's cut of this movie ever because all that
Oh,
footage
he'll
is gone.
pull it out somewhere. That guy's insane. He just sued the Harry Potter people because he created the Harry Potter character in the first Troll movie.
Huh.
Wow.
He's on. I think he won that lawsuit a little bit.
Harry Potter,
a
the
little bit.
character Harry
How would
Potter?
he
win
Because
a
Neil Gaiman created that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would he win and Neil Gaiman lose?
Go watch Troll,
Yeah.
which John Beekler directed, and the character of Harry Potter is in it.
All right.
He made it.
Is his name Harry Potter? Does he have
Yeah.
a lightning bolt scar and everything?
Yeah,
That's impressive.
it's in there.
That is impressive.
No one noticed.
I gotcha.
Little boy wizard.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Oh,
Grammys.
Garbage Pail Kids too. Go watch that one. If you like Friday 7,
Yeah.
you're gonna love Garbage Pail Kids.
I never saw the movie. Actually, there was like a weird time in the 80s where they were making a bunch of weird kids' toys based on terrible horror movies. Like, remember Garbage Pail Kids were a thing, and the Toxic Avenger. Like, I had like Toxic Avenger action figures. They made a cartoon out of it. Terrible choices.
Graham, is there anything else you want to say about your film?
Good question. Because we're on the action figures now.
Yeah,
Other than we kind of
I'll jump in there before we go all the way down the rabbit hole. I mean, I can see the bottom. I don't want to hit there yet.
Yeah. Other than saying it's the best movie, because that's not an argument.
but it is though. I mean, of all the facts that I've laid out,
I mean, I'll say
there is axe to the face kill. I mean that.
Well, that's been kind of a staple. They did that in the first one.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. There's a classic axe to the face. Like he goes, machete, hatchet, axe, all this other stuff, and then brings in some other, the sleeping bag and all this other stuff.
The thing that I like about your film, I think probably more so than almost any of the others, is the performance. I love the main girl. I think actually does a legit good job. Like with what she has to do, she's a little weepy-eyed throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
And that just could be poor direction. I mean, I don't want to knock the guy who made Troll and Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter, so I don't want to. Wow, that's a hell of a hit on a mic.
I love Harry Potter.
But I do think that she was really, really good in this film, and I think
Totally.
that she was, especially for finding her in that short amount of time. I think she's super impressive.
Yeah. No, I mean the whole cast is pretty impressive. And again, Kane.
I just didn't like the dude who kind of survives the whole thing.
I was
No,
going to say,
Yeah,
Big Lebowski was in it. What? Jeff Daniels.
yeah, he was my only kind of in the entire film. I think it's fantastic.
I like the Indian shaman opening thing to it at the very beginning.
Yes.
Well, it's over.
I was
I
just waiting for. Yeah,
You
that
sucker.
was
You got to
it.
put in your last final words after the beep. That's how you do this.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah.
I will vote for you, Graham. Sold.
I wasn't going to, but he did say it's the best.
Haven't you watched a presidential debate? You have to talk for at least 10 minutes after the buzzer goes off on your time.
Oh, but football on the groin has a football on the groin.
So
yeah,
Tony,
it's-
8.
yeah,
8.
he.
Can't wait to hear this.
I can totally not ever
Oh
hear
man,
this argument.
I do like
Yeah.
to pick awful movies and try
I would
and defend them.
consistent.
I was
You
so
do. You're such a
Especially
you do
for
such a good job.
battles.
I was so
God.
convinced I was picking the worst one, and then you went Manhattan. I'm like, oh God.
So yeah, I have Jason 8. Jason Takes Manhattan, which should have been titled Jason Takes a Cruise to Manhattan.
And by cruise, you mean like steamship.
Yeah, like freighter
like
to
working
Manhattan.
freighter.
That has. Oh yeah, I listed all the different cool rooms that they have in this freighter cruise that they're taking for
That's
a
your
senior
argument.
trip.
We all listed our kills. You listed the cool rooms in the freighter.
Oh, I've got all the kills listed. We're getting there. There's a sauna. There's a dance floor
hot.
with a disco ball. There are
And a
giant
light up floor.
Gotta
and
have
a
that.
light up
It's
floor.
a game of Clue.
There are giant bedrooms in this cruise freighter. There's a gym workout room that doubles as like a boxing ring. There's a restaurant. You never see the restaurant, but you see the
I can't fucking
kitchen.
believe you're noting all these.
And there's a game room that you don't actually see anybody ever in.
I'll take that.
Then
Chris.
how do you know it's there?
Because there's a door that closes that says game room, and there's a dartboard on it. And there's a dartboard on it. And Jason comes out of it. I don't know what he was probably playing a little bit of a Pac-Man.
The
or
set
something. I don't
decorator
know.
loves you. Like, oh, somebody got it. There's
Yeah.
a game room on board.
So yeah, he doesn't actually get to Manhattan until roughly an hour and 8 minutes into the movie, and it's an hour and 40-minute movie, which is the longest Friday the 13th movie, at least up until that point.
It shows.
How long?
Hour and 40 minutes.
Mine was like 39. They're all shorter than that?
Yep. Apparently, based on these IMDb
was like
facts,
one-
which are
I
clearly
believe IMDb
accurate.
Hour
facts,
37,
yeah.
I think.
I think Jason X is a nice trim hour 31.
Oh, I like that one.
So,
Let's see
Yeah,
that one.
this movie had 17 confirmed kills with 3 that could have been kills. I'm going to list them all for you.
Those extra
Please
minutes
do.
were
'Cause
used
I wrote them
for
down.
the extra kills, obviously.
All right, so
Which
at
is
the
only
beginning-
one more than 7.
And these are in
Just putting that out
chronological order as well, mind you. A guy gets killed by guy gets killed by harpoon gun. Girl gets killed by harpoon from harpoon gun.
Yes.
Guitar to the face.
awesome.
Steaming sauna rock through the chest
No.
and stomach, depending on which cut you look at, or which shot you look at. Mirror shard stabbing.
Yeah, that's pretty
Another
classic.
harpoon.
Likes his harpoons.
Slit throat
Yeah.
with a machete.
Slit throat.
Classic.
Strangled to death. First time Jason has ever strangled somebody.
Oh,
to
what a
death.
move.
Very,
Do you
very
know why?
passionate. Because he
it's
was on a
lame.
dance floor
Oh.
with the disco ball right above him. Electrocuted to death, then catches on fire.
That sounds awesome.
Thrown from the watchtower, I don't know what they're called, on a boat, onto an antenna.
Oh, I like that one. That was a good one.
Oh,
axe in the
is that
back.
like impaled?
Yeah.
yeah.
No, perfect. That's a good one.
Axe in the back. Stabbed by a used syringe through the chest.
Used? Like he got HIV just before he died?
No, like these are 2 thugs in Manhattan
Ugh.
who try to rape somebody but get her high first, and that syringe that they
Classic.
used to get her high, Jason stabs him with.
Yeah, they make her do heroin before they rape her. It's like
Yeah.
so now you get AIDS times.
So we
2.
were like excited for Jason when he killed those people?
yeah, it's like
that's
the one.
Kind of. It was
Yeah.
kind of like a
And then
protection.
he
He became a hero in this movie.
He
Yeah.
really does until they melt him to death.
He's
in
like
the
the
acid bath
anti-hero.
wash.
But-
Head through the pipe, a steam
A
pipe.
head through a pipe. That's
Wow,
insane.
That is fucking.
Yeah.
How did they
Uh,
squeeze it through there?
How big was this pipe?
The
Yeah.
most
Pipe.
ultimate kill is the next one, which I was on the floor laughing because of how awesome it was. So the boxer from the boxing ring on the ship
Wait.
gets in a
Did you bring this up
boxing
before?
match on the rooftop with Jason.
Nice.
And basically, it's basically the Apollo Creed Russian fight. Apollo Creed, I'm going to call him, gets worn out. And
Yeah.
he's so tired. He's like, all right, give me your best shot. And Jason punches his head off. And it goes flying into a dumpster, and the dumpster closes on it.
So what you're saying is the
before-
writer phoned it in.
No, because
Headshot.
before you go headshot I like that.
Classic.
Before you go too far, you have to remember that now Jason goes down the building, finds the dumpster, takes the head out of the dumpster so he can go put it in a car to scare somebody
He
later.
does do that.
I love Jason.
Rearranging bodies is a classic.
Such a trickster.
It doesn't always happen in horror movies, but when it does.
All right, so we're almost done with all the deaths.
Oh, you're not done. Sorry.
No,
Carry on.
we're keep going. He throws a cop in an alley. You don't really see what happens. You assume he kills him. He throws a guy against a mirror once again. You don't know if he actually kills him. Funny fact about that guy: the guy that gets thrown into the mirror
Actually
actually
died.
plays Jason in Jason 10.
That's awesome.
And Jason 10. Kane Hodder's Jason 10.
Whatever. I don't know. Is it the same guy? Either way, I have no idea. But I read that fact
He's
somewhere.
still
too.
reading it IMDb.
No, these are
That's
notes I
not-
took. This isn't
Took
from
from
IMDb.
yeah, exactly.
I took these notes. I copy and pasted
The
all of
mother
them.
character that's not the mother gets blown up in a cop car after everyone else leaves her,
Listen, the mom dies
which
in
is
mine.
hilarious. Some guy gets drowned in a barrel of green liquid that I can only
It's a
assume
dip.
Taken straight from Roger Rabbit.
I can only assume it was put there by TGRI. Guy gets hit, wrenched
Love
to the
that.
head, and then Jason dies kind of via toxic waste drowning in a sewer that apparently is abundant in toxic waste because it's everywhere
It's one of those
in New York.
movies.
It's
Yeah,
New
it's
York.
New York.
It's the
Yeah.
midnight
Toxic waste
it's
and
the midnight
everywhere.
Toxic
He
waste
just became
plunge.
Toka and Razor
Yeah.
from
He really did. It's funny. This definitely has a Rocky element to it.
Yep.
I think Rocky copied it. It has Ninja Turtles 2,
Yep.
Secret of the Ooze in it. And there's another one I forgot. I should have written it down.
Jason, yeah.
Oh yeah, Jason's in it. We were talking about the placement of the bodies. There's only one placement in the body other than the head. In this one, that's when he kills the captain of a ship and props him on the wheel, like the. So I don't know how Jason learned how to swim, but he swims from wherever this camp.
Because he fucking
Crystal Lake
drowned
is.
to death.
He shouldn't know how to
He's had
swim.
10 years to learn how to swim.
Wait,
Makes no sense.
I mean, I guess he was underwater for like 30. Well, at this time, like 50 years. So I mean, he's probably had time to just to do some backstrokes and shit. while he's down
Possibly.
there.
Who knows? You said your movie was toned down. This one is super toned down. There's only one set of boobs and only one sex.
2 sets
act.
of boobs.
There's
one in the opening, and then there's the girl who gets killed while
In
she
the
takes
shower.
a shower. And
But
then
you
as he
barely
kills
see
her,
her
she
boob.
flies out of her shirt.
Fun fact about that scene: that woman in the shower was so nervous about being naked on set. The director thought it would be a good idea to, hey, prove to her that it's really easy, and strip down naked and got in the shower with her. Which is funny because the cameras were
Super
rolling, so when the
awesome.
dailies went to
Oh,
the post team
boy.
or whatever, the producers, the next day they found it really weird that he was naked in the shower with her. Hilarious.
One way to direct a film, I guess.
This was the last movie
the
that
only
Paramount
way.
produced, other than the newest one.
Yes, they
They
got him
brought
back
it
for the
back
remake.
because
They failed?
Yeah, it was declining sales. This movie made 19
Really?
million. It had a budget of 5 though, so it still almost quadrupled its money.
Well, it made a lot that opening weekend, and then because everyone's like, "Yeah, Jason in Manhattan, that sounds cool. We're gonna watch him slaughter people in New York." And then all their friends went to go see it. Like, no, he's on a boat the whole fucking time.
He is on a boat the entire
Well-
which I heard in the original script, he had to rewrite it because the budget was so crappy. He had most of the movie taking place in New York. He wanted to shoot the boxing scene in Madison Square Garden.
That'd been cool.
And he had
Dear
all these
Lord.
places around New York that they were going to do it in, but they're like, no, you don't have any money. And then so he made it on the boat.
Oh, God.
Which another fact about the boat, apparently to get it to Vancouver where they shot most of the movie, because why would they shoot in New York?
More
They
expensive
had
than
to
New York,
order
yeah.
like a freight load of potatoes to get the boat there because they couldn't have a boat go there for no reason. So that's why it looks like a freighter and not a cruise ship like it was supposed to be.
They had delicious catering for
Kane Hodder in this movie as well, second reprisal out of 4 that he did. He is by far the best Jason. I'm glad you brought him up because he was awesome in this. Mine is basically filled with fun facts around the movie. The scene where he throws the guy who plays Jason later apparently into the mirror. Before that, he was outside of set by himself sitting on a bench. And apparently he was very protective of his Jason mask because it's iconic for him. Some guy stole it right before that scene.
And he murdered them?
Chased down the guy and fought him and knocked him out, grabbed the mask, and they called action right after it. And that's when he runs in, he's like all jacked up and hyped because he just fought a dude outside who took his mask. When the scene was over, he walked out and there's nobody there. The guy had gotten up and ran away.
Kane's kind of famous for that.
Kane Hodder's fucking awesome.
He
seems like such a
he would
cool
walk
guy.
around in his costume all the time.
How much
and
time
just
do I
freak
got left?
people out.
You got
You ever
15
see
seconds.
him on the Arsenio Hall show?
I did not.
In the Takes Manhattan costume. It was amazing. Really? Yeah, you gotta look at it.
No,
It's
no,
on
it
YouTube.
wasn't that him. Just he didn't say a word.
Yeah.
and like he just stood there and
Yeah.
Jason, which is awesome.
That's it.
Ah,
I appreciate
they bring back the
out-of-character characters.
doomed, everyone's doomed guy. That's
Yeah.
my last note. Boom!
It
I could
wins
drop the mic if I
for
could, but I'm not going to.
You can
Best
do what's been going on over
poster,
here.
Yeah,
hands
Ryan's been doing
down, the I Love New York poster,
Which
is-
they pulled.
That's yeah.
Yeah, they did 2 versions of it. I read one with a bloody knife and one with a bloody knife, one without. And then they pulled the bloody knife one because they thought it'd be too gory. But then they ended up pulling both of them because the New York Tourism Board complained that it
On
was
9/11.
detrimental to the tourism.
Detrimental. Were they
Before
actually
9/11.
Jason showing up? Like, what the fuck?
I don't know.
What a bunch of morons.
Jason did 9/11.
Oh,
What a bunch of morons. Okay, so I didn't really do any research in mine because I'm just going to talk about the
that's a
movie
first.
that I love. Yeah, I always do all of the research. I don't just bullshit this thing for 10 minutes. All right, here we go. So I did essentially the last out of these movies, which is Jason X.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was a movie that I was stupidly excited to see because I'd seen all the other ones growing up, and this is the first one my parents said I could go see in the theaters by myself, but I still wasn't old enough, so I went to go see it, and I snuck into the theater and I got caught, and I had to go see the Scorpion King instead.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was very upsetting because I had to wait till DVD to actually watch the movie, which was that was a long wait. I know he's out there in space killing people.
Yeah, this was the first movie that I remember coming out like in my childhood. So technically, this is the first Jason movie that I ignored intentionally.
Well, I remember that trailer, and like it had a bunch of people from Andromeda in it, and like it was supposed to be like it looked to me like just like a really awesome movie. When I was a kid, I was looking at this thing, I'm like, yeah, that's gonna be cool. Jason killing people in space. I am all about this. And then when I finally saw it, when it hit DVD, I'm like, well, it was awesome in a totally different way than what I wanted. Because what I wanted was a space horror film in the likeness of Alien, which they try to do. For an entire sequence. They really try to make the Jason Batman character and the wings and stuff, and it's pretty awesome. But for the most part, it was really just a love letter to fans of Jason while trying to cash in on sci-fi stuff and trying to make as much money as possible, which is very obvious throughout the whole movie. They just wanted to make money. Which is fine.
Save money.
And save money. With the same like 3-room set throughout the entire film. Like, run the other way and you're in a different hallway now. But, I mean, for me, the reason why I love Jason X so much is because of that love letter to fans thing. Like, so they bring back what a lot of fans have said was like the best kill ever, which was the sleeping bag kill in 7, where he ties a girl up in a sleeping bag and then whacks her against a tree, or he hits her on the ground a whole bunch of times and then whacks her against a tree and she dies. They bring it back in this one where he has 2 girls in 2 sleeping bags and he ties them both up and then uses one girl to beat the other girl to death and then smashes her against a tree. And there's something about the way that Kane Hodder does this where you can tell that like it looks like Jason's having fun with what he's doing, which is so fucked up.
Really important.
He's
But
a
it is
man who
important.
loves his job.
He is. And the thing about this movie is that, with the exception of, I think, 9, it has the most kills. And the only reason why 9 has more is because he has to kill everybody to become them. 9 is, if you haven't seen 9, don't. It's a
Mega Man?
kind of, he basically, a really short side note, 9, he dies in the very beginning, like gets blown up, and then the guy who's doing his autopsy, he's like, hey, that looks like a delicious heart. I think I'm going to eat it, and then eats it. And then becomes Jason. And
Believable.
Throughout the entire movie, when that body starts dying, he has to throw up into somebody else's mouth so that they'll become Jason.
Great.
When are doctors gonna learn? You just
Nobody
can't
picked that
do stuff
movie?
like
Nobody
that.
picked that movie. Wow, what a movie.
That's when New Line took over the franchise.
Yeah.
They had no fucking idea what to do with it.
No.
Clearly. But this really wasn't the right idea to go either. But they made something that I still think is a incredibly enjoyable film because it is just so off the wall and ridiculous. And that's the whole movie. Maybe it's the same reason that I liked from way back in our day with our James Bond episodes, like with Die Another Day. Like, I like those movies where it's like, fuck it, we're going to throw it on a wall, and if nothing sticks, who cares? We had fun making it.
Yeah.
And that's all this movie is. It
Talk
really is
about
just like,
the new James Bond then at some point.
I still haven't seen it.
Jason X is like a boardroom joke. Yeah. We've done everything you can fucking do to this guy. Let's send him to space. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
You know what?
The Key and
That's
Peele
great.
sketch
Yeah.
from Gremlins 2. You came in and did Jason X.
Let's do it.
And that's the whole movie, is just really, who gives a fuck? Like, and so for me, the one part that I like about this movie, and I was watching it with Chewy, who could not be here today, we were talking about when he wakes up and he starts going through the room, and they call in like the Marines, which why are there Marines on the school trip to Earth? But whatever. So they call in the Marines to kill him, and he basically either becomes either Alien or Batman, depending on which reference you want to make. But he basically hides in the rafters and just kills everybody one by one in this murder room. And we don't know why they're in this room or why they have a murder room on their thing, but it's totally just a murder room because everything around you is just something that can impale you and kill you horribly. And they take full advantage of it. Like, this is now in, was it 2000s? I think it was like 2001, where censorship is no longer really a problem. So like, all right, let's just murder the shit out of everybody. So there's like a big drill bit that they throw somebody onto, and he lands on it, and it's sticking through his chest, and then the weight of him makes him spiral as he falls down. They have like these, for some reason, meat hooks all around the walls that he's just grabbing people and sticking them up on it. They have, at one point, there's a girl in another room who has like, she does autopsies and whatnot, and they have this gel that makes everything freeze on impact, and he shoves her face in there and then shatters her whole head.
That's the best one.
Brilliant.
That's the best one, the liquid nitrogen kill.
It is so awesome. I think that's the whole movie. It's just like, let's just do things that are awesome.
Yeah.
Plot?
There's an error for that for sure.
It had the spirit for just what's the craziest way to dispatch all these losers.
Yeah. And I think that's why I liked it so much. Because, I mean, growing up watching these movies, the things that I always remembered about them was I never gave a shit about any of the people in it. I was there to watch them die, which sounds gruesome, but that's what it was. You want to see how
It's a horror movie genre.
you want to see how
slasher movie.
you want to see how creatively Jason can dispatch a group of teenagers, and Jason X this is how creative he can get. Like, you give him the tools, he'll make it work. And then it has, for some reason, it decided, let's be funny too. Like, can't be funny? No, we're gonna try to throw in one-liners because we haven't done those yet. like, why not? And like, they have this. It's one of the ones in the movie that it was. Like, I think it was like the button of every trailer, but it made me laugh. Which the teacher's in the room with Jason and he gives him his machete and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back." And then just a splash of blood on the wall. Like, I love that shit.
Yeah, the trailer movie.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so good. And like that's why I liked it, because it is the epitome of so bad it's good. Like, they just did not give a fuck in any way, and like, well, we're just gonna make a horrible fucking movie and we're gonna have fun with it.
They knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah. The other one-liner that Chewie went, I fucking hate this movie. Like, audibly just went, I can't take this one, because she does not like this the way that I do.
I wish she was here for this.
I do too. It's the part where they blow a hole and they throw Jason basically out an airlock, but that can't kill Jason because he's Jason. So he's just clinging to the side of the ship and just punches a hole in it. And now all the air is getting sucked out, and one girl's about to die, and she just looks up and goes, this sucks on so many levels.
It's true.
Yep. Literally.
What else can I talk about with this thing? I mean, there's like the problem with, I love this movie.
Uber Jason.
I was gonna try to save him for the
drives
last
a
minute,
car?
but I guess I've got nothing else. But yeah. When Jason becomes an Uber driver, it is
The worst.
God, he would have totally killed that Taco Bell guy.
He would be killing everybody as an Uber driver.
So the tagline of this movie was "Evil gets an upgrade." That was at the it was in all the trailers, it was on the posters, and it's really just that he gets the android blows the shit out of him with these two guns, and she's a badass, and she cartwheels and she shoots him a bunch and just completely dismembers him, and he lands on like an operating table that has these nanobots that can rebuild you if you're hurt. Like, in the beginning of the movie, a guy loses his arm and they're just like, "Oh yeah, just sit in the nanobot machine, you're gonna be fine." And then he gets his arm back and then gets killed later. But
So
Jason,
much for those nanobots.
yeah, I mean, they can only do so much. It's not Big Hero 6 yet. So he lands on it, and the nanobots are like, "You know what you need? You need metal. That's going to make you better." And they basically give him metal mask. They give him this like kind of weird clear-ish like machete. He's got like metal for half of his body. And
machete.
And now he's just like the ultimate killing machine more than he ever was before. Like, now he still can't die. Like, I didn't understand.
Now he's ultimate.
Now he's the same as Jason 9. No, wait.
Like, that's even as a kid when I was excited to see this movie, I still kind of had that. He's an unstoppable killing machine. What was the fucking point? Like, is he not an unstoppable killing machine before?
Yeah. But now even more so.
Because, I mean, 9 kind of obliterated any idea of him not being an unstoppable killing machine. Even with the stupid bullshit thing of only a family member can kill him. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he was clearly just never going to not kill something. Like, so he lost his head. Whatever, he'll be fine. Like, it's kind of the charm of Jason is, he'll be fine. Just let him rest. He can sleep it off, and then he'll be fine. But instead, in this one, he becomes like the ultimate metal killing machine, and he can't die in space. He can't die anywhere. And the end of the film, he falls onto essentially Earth 2 in a lake that they didn't say was Crystal Lake, but it's basically like, oh, it's Crystal Lake 2.
Start the movie over again.
Luckily, there's no Jason in this lake, and then he just crash lands. And like the end of the movie is like, oh, look at that shooting star. Oh no, it's a meteor. Oh, it landed in the lake right over there. Let's go take a look. And it's like, oh, he's just going to keep killing people.
Sweet.
Are they making another one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is Paramount doing
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, nice one. Nicest timed exit.
it? So the first
Well, I have
one
the
came
timer
out.
right in front of me. It makes it a little bit easier.
The first one came out in 1980.
Yep.
I had number 8 that came out in 1989.
Yeah, they pump
That's
these fuckers out.
insane.
Yep. And then
Yeah.
two
Like I
more
said,
in
they
the
made
20
7
years.
in 6 months.
Wasted no time.
Yeah. You know the phrase "strike while the iron's hot"?
Money.
Yeah, they took care of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is more like strike while the iron. Like you just
Strike!
just strike, just strike,
Go,
just
go.
strike.
3 strikes while the iron's hot.
Okay, so now we get to vote. To recap really quickly what we all had, I had Jason X.
8.
7.
4.
Friday the 13th.
You could have just said one.
Part
could've
Uno.
said
No, I said my movie was called Friday the 13th.
Yeah. My movie even gave up on the Friday the 13th title. Is Jason.
Yeah, it did.
Yep.
Jason 10.
Yeah.
Give us your
Was
money.
it
Ten?
rights.
I think it was
Yeah.
X. I don't even think they used 10.
They didn't. It's just Jason X. Give us your money.
My movie had some dialogueless stunt double extra playing Jason.
Mine had Kane Hodder, which was awesome.
As
So
did
did mine.
mine.
Mine was the
but-
first.
3 of
to
them.
have Kane Hodder.
All right, so I'm gonna go. We'll go reverse, and I'll vote
Yeah.
first, and then we'll just go backwards. I'm gonna vote 7. I know 4 is probably a better film, but there's something about Jason versus Carrie that I think is just one of the greatest things ever, and it's the introduction of Kane Hodder, who is Jason in my opinion. I know he only did it for 4 films, and none of them are, in the grand scheme of things, the greatest movies in the world, but he is still awesome as Jason. So
It was hands down better than the Jason in Friday the 13th. Which is still, if you haven't figured it out by this point of the episode, the only one that I've seen.
Where's
I only because now I really want to watch it after listening to these arguments. I'm gonna go with X.
Oh, nice.
gotta love Jason X.
I'm not gonna say
that was
why.
the wrong, that was
other
the wrong
than
answer.
I couldn't vote for 8. Okay, I know. It was the second best answer, but
Yeah, it really sucks that we can't vote for our own movies.
yeah,
I really
think it'd be a 5-way tie. Well, actually, no, I probably wouldn't vote for mine.
I really believed myself. All right, well, I'm gonna be different. I'm gonna go for the first one,
No.
the one without Jason in it. But I mean, it's
was
classic.
good.
It set
Yeah.
everything off. It's got Kevin Bacon in it.
It's probably
right?
the only one that's a good horror film.
I mean, it was like
Or-
legit. Like when it first came out, you know, it's like all those kills and that whole genre. Like in the in 80, not in the 80s, in 80. Like that movie is it's classic.
Well, it technically was in the 80s.
Josh, you're up.
It being in
your
1980.
vote.
I don't know what to vote for, guys. Look, the telekinesis is bullshit.
Whoa.
Jason's
Bullshitly
face and the
amazing.
toxic waste is bullshit. Jason not being in the movie is bullshit.
Yeah.
I can't vote for my own, so I'm gonna go X.
Yeah.
That's going to win.
Nice. It is. My vote's irrelevant. I'm voting for Jason 4, but Jason X still
Jason X
has it with
wins.
2 votes.
Damn.
The best Friday. Well, we decided it once and for all.
The
There we go.
shittiest one is the best one.
Definitive.
That's something about
Everyone
the
has been
entire
wanting to know.
franchise.
That just makes me so happy.
All you fans out there,
Get on your
now
Wikipedias.
you know which one.
Get on your Wikipedias and
Yeah.
update.
I voted for it. I still can't believe it won.
It really is the most fun.
It-
They knew how to have fun making
Yeah.
that movie.
That's fair.
Yeah. I
if
mean,
that's what you're going into the franchise for, then I totally
I
understand
think by
why Jason
10,
X
that's
would
why
win.
you're going into the
Yeah.
franchise.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
By
really,
10, yeah.
that really is the whole, like at this point, like, all right, fuck the horror film thing. People want to see people die creatively. We got that.
Yeah.
and that's all they did.
But we kind of fucked off not mentioning all the other ones, you know? We should have had more people involved here. I mean,
We were going to.
Someone should have needed to defend 6. That's a good one.
Wait, what were
Six is
the
a good
2
one.
that backed out?
fuck
What were they going
5.
to do?
Well, the one that backed out, he covered for. That was gonna be 7. That guy backed out, and then Freddy vs. Jason did not show up today.
Freddy
Thank
vs.
God.
Jason is an amazing film.
Freddy vs. Jason might have won had they been here to defend it today.
I'm so into that one.
That movie is fucking great.
I even love the
Well, I
remake.
like Freddy, so it would have been well.
I don't mind the remake. The remake's not bad.
It's decent.
The only problem with the remake is the random.
Hostage.
The hostage doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would Jason take a
He
hostage?
would not.
That was
He would
dumb.
murder her.
That was dumb. And then we have to explain why Jason knows how to fire a bow and arrow by showing him like with his archery trophies, and then later he can fire a bow and arrow. It's like
amazing.
It's like we can make the leap that he's a murderer. We don't need to understand
Yeah.
why he knows how
Yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, I mean, he chases people with the whatever weed whacker blade
We
thing.
didn't have a
Show
weed
his
whacker.
gardening
He would
trophies.
destroy in the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dominate that
I mean,
game.
he's at this camp. I feel like he's just walking around and be like, yeah, that could totally kill somebody. I could make that kill somebody. Like, yeah.
Now I
at some
really want
point,
to. All I want to do is watch Hunger Games with Jason now.
He would be the ultimate because he's the ultimate ripoff.
Just cut
Like
it
Hunger
together.
Games was the ultimate
Dude, that
ripoff
might be
of
like
Battle
Jason
Royale.
11.
There
If
we
they
go.
like if they go back to after 10, they could do like a Jason's hunting everyone in an arena, That'd be kind of cool.
That should just be the movie at this
paintball
point.
guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the Hunger Games right there. You just take all that footage and intercut it with the.
And part 6 of the
Jennifer
one
Lawrence.
has a working camp in it. There's actually kids at that camp. in
Yeah,
6.
there are. It's one of the first times. It's
the
the
only
first time. Yeah,
And only time.
man.
The camp works without their counselors fucking off and banging.
Well, they all die, but it was
Oh,
working.
because
So
they
they
fucked
were
off
having
and banged.
sex.
Yep. Get
Wait,
it.
so did we ever establish? Do you know where Crystal Lake is? The fictional Crystal Lake.
It's in Crystal Town.
Yeah.
Jersey.
I'm just wondering how.
Minnesota probably. Land of lakes and shit.
It's-
It's supposed to be on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's
because
very
otherwise it would be able to
East
take a
Coast.
cruise to
Well,
New York.
we're in California, so Minnesota is the East Coast.
That's true.
Yeah, but
Well, and you can drive to Elm Street.
yeah.
Yeah.
Jason versus
with a-
Jersey Shore. That's
That would be
watch the
amazing.
fuck out
I
of that.
paid the shit out of that movie.
Okay, so I'll bring a close to today's episode. So tune in next week for our Thanksgiving episode.
Yeah.
I will not explain anything more than that, and then it will be another battle episode.
Battle.
If you guess what it's about, you win.
The battle.
Yeah.
Eli Roth's Thanksgiving trailer wins whatever that battle is.
It'd be kind of tough to do a 10-minute argument on a 30-second trailer.
I would do it. Can I take back what movie I've picked?
No, because you picked the winner, I think.
I did.
Knife
so-
through the trampoline into the vagina. End of argument.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to say thank you for everyone being on.
You're welcome.
We got one. Okay, so bye.
Get down on Friday. Everybody's looking forward to the weekend.